Hi Shirley, welcome to my article analysis. So the article that I chose to look at was Adjusting Grades and Let Ethics Be Your Guide. This article was written by David L. Martinson, and he was a professor in college and he did teach ethics. He's also written several articles on secondary school education, so he does seem to know a lot about this subject. So the key ideas that this article was trying to portray was that the grade the student receives may not truly reflect what they've learned. And so looking at other factors that we can consider beyond what the numbers or the math will tell us. And a lot of critics will say, no, you should just let the math be your guide. But there are times when a teacher is justified in taking these subjective factors into consideration when adjusting grades. But when you do, there are 4 factors and 4 non-negotiable factors that you have to have in place. The first is no shortchanging the student. You can't lower the grade. You can't give them a lower grade than what they have legitimately earned through assessment because of a subjective consideration. So you could have a student who has a really high mark but has a horrible attitude. You can't look at that horrible attitude and take away marks. He did say that it may be okay if there are some serious behavioral problems in the classroom, but this is only with advance notice and documentation to support it. But really and truly, in probably 99.9% of cases, you cannot lower a student's grade. The next is to make it transparent or clear to all that are involved. So this is the students, parents, administrators, colleagues, everybody, making it so that they know that there could be changes in grades based on certain factors. But these factors have to be clear from the very beginning. So a good example is if you're going to look at the enthusiasm a student exhibits in class through participation in classroom activities, you have to explicitly spell this out to the students, parents. Maybe a good way to do this would be through the course outline. The next sort of factor to consider is having a universalizable system. I like to think of this as not having any favoritism. And so there are decisions that a teacher can make that are adjustments that they have to be able to apply to all students, especially if they are under similar circumstances. So if you have 2 students that show sort of equal amount of enthusiasm, one is achieving a very high grade and the other is not, if you change the grade of one, you have to be able to change the grade of the other. This is being able to use these other criteria to adjust grades, but you have to have a system that is completely neutral to who the students are. And the final non-negotiable sort of aspect is being able to subject these decisions to a test of publicity. So this is basically just saying that you have to be able to justify your decisions to the student, to parents, to your colleagues, to administration, and you have to be able to defend these decisions if they don't exactly agree with your decision. So we can then look at the Growing Success document from the Ministry of Education. In the evaluation section of the document, we are told that in grading, it is expected that both mathematical calculations and professional judgment will be used in the determination of final grades. And so this leads us to question, what exactly do they mean by professional judgment? So in the glossary, they define professional judgment as a judgment that is informed by professional knowledge of the curriculum expectations, context, evidence of learning, methods of instruction and assessment, and the criteria and standards that indicate success in learning. So this involves a process that evolves in terms of accuracy and insight with ongoing reflection. So this is basically just saying, using your judgment, using what you know about the curriculum, the context in which the curriculum is used, the students' evidence of learning, so how they've shown their learning. Maybe they can show how they've learned in a conversation with you, but when it comes to writing it down on a test, they can't. And how you instructed and how you did the assessment. And looking at those kind of things combined with math then you can have the final grade come forth. So in some personal experience, I have received marks for effort when completing a difficult question and on a difficult concept where I had absolutely no idea where to even start, but I attempted the question, so I did get part marks on the question for, attempting it. And on a similar line, I have actually given marks on placement when a student has shown a lot of effort when attempting a question I gave them, but they didn't quite didn't get the answer. They didn't really do it in a way that was right, or maybe they were just completely off. But I saw that they gave an attempt, so I gave them a mark for attempting the question. And so when looking at my teaching, I think that having this knowledge will make me consider a lot of things while I am doing my grading. I will look at if the mark really does account for what the students learned. Are there other things that they've shown, or other ways they have shown that they have learned? Did I give enough notice that there are other factors that I will use to grade them? Did I say I will use participation to grade you? Is there any way that someone can say I showed any favoritism? And probably one of the more important ones to me is, can I implement this decision and then justify it to raise a mark or not raise a mark to the student, to the parents, my department head, my principal, or others? And so here are my references. Thank you.